Well, good morning. Um, I'm just laying here in bed, eating leftover chicken, which of course I've shared with Rocky too. Rocky's also had some more chicken this morning. And just contemplating things, especially contemplating the fact that I've got to get up out of this bed soon. And I have to uh, go out into that mess very soon. And the reason I have to do that, there's Rocky, is because I have to take the garbage out. And I need to do that fairly soon. Otherwise, I'm going to miss out on getting rid of my garbage this week, Rocky. And we can't have that, eh? That'd be terrible. It would be. It'd be a terrible thing. And so, anyway, what's happening is I got to get up out of the bed very soon, but I don't want to. It's a war of wills, is what it is. Eh? Rocky says, stop being a lazy bones and do what you need to do. And he's right. Of course he's right. Rocky's always right, though. He's very wise. Rocky's a very wise old cat. He's like one of those those old Asian martial arts masters in the 1980s movie. Remember in the 1980s there was always some Asian guy in the movies? And he was always really smart. But that Rocky's the cat version of that. Anyway, speaking of fools and wise old men and all that, I'm more the first than the second, but still, I have learned a few things. Through this adventure, I've learned a few things. I've learned some stuff about myself, and I've learned some stuff about the world. Stuff that I sort of kind of knew, but really needed a good kick up the arse to reinforce it. And that's what this situation has given me. It's given me a good kick up the arse to reinforce the things that I kind of already knew but didn't really know like I needed to know them. And I'm going to level with you about something here. Prior to all this happening, one of my greatest fears was to end up homeless. That really was one of my greatest fears. And when it happened, you know, for anyone who's actually had to face one of their greatest fears head on, you know what I mean. When it happens, you think you're going to fall apart. You know, you really do. But then you get on with it. You do what you got to do, and you get on with it. And it was tough. I had a lot of bad luck, a lot of setbacks. It seemed like everything that I tried to do to make the situation easier only made it harder. I had to learn as I went, and I'm still learning. And, well, I've survived. I've been at this now since the end of July of 2021. That was when I had to leave my house. And I've been at this since then. And I've had a lot of ups and downs. But it's mostly been positive, really. As negative as it's been, it's actually been kind of a positive experience. Spiritually, I found it's given me a different perspective. I'm not vengeful like I once was. I used to be an awful vengeful person. And I'm not vengeful anymore. Not like I was, anyway. I'm not out to pay back or to get revenge or anything. If I was out to do that, there'd be a few people in a lot of danger right now. If I was still the way I used to be, especially the way I was in my 20s and 30s. How I managed not to kill somebody back then, I don't know. But I guess it was just maybe God's intervention. Maybe that to a degree. I really don't know, but I know I came close a few times to actually taking people out. I was that fed up and vengeful and frustrated and angry. And, this situation, it takes all my energy just to survive. Really, it does. Everything is just work, work, and more work. And I'm not getting any younger. And what it's done is it's beat most of that out of me. I wouldn't say it's beat it all out of me. I still have moments where I find myself kind of reverting back to that. But it's beat most of it out of me. And that's not a bad thing, really. And, I always was good at making do without very much, and making things that aren't very good into good things. I mean, I saw a YouTube video one time where a guy was saying, like, basically, if you're poor and you don't have anything, that's because you suck at being poor. Because a good poor person can take something that's just complete junk and turn it into something beautiful. And see, that's something that I've always been able to do. So I've been able to fall back on that ability in order to make my life in this situation easier. I mean, I can take something that most people think is just garbage and I can turn it into something useful and good. And that's a good skill to have, especially in these times, because it's getting to the point where that you will own nothing and be happy. That's being pushed in a big way. And the people who are running the show really do want us to own nothing. They don't really care if we're happy. They expect us to pay lip service to the idea that we're happy. Whether we are or not, they don't really care, as long as we don't cause any trouble. That's all. But the bottom line is, times are tough. They're getting tougher all the time. There's no sign of this situation letting up anytime soon. And for those of us who are already facing hardship, we've got a tough road ahead of us. And for those of us who aren't quite in that situation yet, for a lot of you, it is coming. So you got to learn how to make do. You got to learn how to appreciate what you've got, how to make the most of what you got. You got to learn how to take what resources you have and make them serve you as best they can. And that may mean taking a rusted out old thing and some rust paint or something and making it beautiful. It might mean taking a section of an old tin can to patch a stovepipe. It might mean, gaffling onto an old bicycle that's not much good anymore, and putting it back into condition where you can use it. It might mean taking a few morsels of food you have in your refrigerator, a couple of heels from a bread loaf and a few other things that you have, and turning that into a meal, and being able to turn that into a meal you'd actually want to eat. And if you don't have those skills, you're going to have a very tough time. And so, you really do need to develop that as best you can. And, people need to learn to make their money go as far as it can. They need to learn to make whatever they have go as far as it can. They need to learn to make the most of what they have. They need to learn tricks in order to survive better, in order to be able to eat and to be warm, and so on like that. And those skills are going to be very valuable. They already are valuable to me, and they're going to be valuable to a lot of you out there too. And one of the reasons that I'm showing people how I'm living day to day is because I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy like any of you, really. And yet I'm able to survive in a situation that I think a lot of you think you couldn't survive in. So it's kind of to allay your fears if this situation is coming for you and you're seeing this on the horizon. It's to allay your fears, to let you know that you are tough enough to do it, and you will do what you have to do, and you will survive. You are strong enough, you know. And also, to kind of give you some tips or whatever as to how you might do it. You know, little things that I figured out, like the hot water bags I put in the bed and stuff like that at night. Um, you know, things like that, that when you're not able to get heating oil or firewood or whatever, if you have any way at all of boiling water, you can do that. If there's any way at all you can get a hold of some hot water, you can do that. If you can't boil water and you're in the city, if you can even get access to a hot water tap. If somebody running a restaurant will allow you to fill your hot water bottles from their tap, or if you can go to a gas station washroom and fill them there or whatever, you know, then you can put those in your bed or your sleeping bag or whatever you've got, and they may save your life. That sort of a thing, be able to do that. And the bottom line is, I'm not all that smart, yet I figured it out. And you'll figure it out too, you know, and that's all. Anyway, I guess the bottom line is, this is a time to learn to be grateful for what we've got. This is a time to learn skills to help us survive. Right now we're in a world run by people. We're